Welcome to my next Python Trinket tutorial. In the previous lesson, we learned how to make circles and partial circles using the arcs, and we use the circle function. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can use the circle functions to make regular polygons. I went ahead and I have already imported my turtle so we don't have to waste time. I'm going to go ahead and make a circle just to review what we have done. So let me change the pen size to 10 and let me change the color. Oops, I messed up here. Let me change the color of my pen to, let's do red. All right. And so in the previous lessons, we used the circle function to create a circle. And the parameter is going to be the radius. And there's my circle, red circle. If you wanted it to be filled, you can do it the appropriate method. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you. We also use the arc. Again, quick review. 360 would be an entire circle. 180 would be a half. And let's run half red circle. Now, if you look here, since a circle is 360 degrees, there's also a third parameter in the circle function, and that is what is called the steps. So I'm going to show you, the steps basically represent how many sides the shape has. So if I put a step of 3 after the radius, the arc, and that should be a comma, this is going to make me a 3-sided shape, which should be a red triangle. Now, if you want it colored, we can always use the begin function, limas.begin, begin fill, and we can end the fill. And so this would give us a red, limas.end fill, and this will give us a red triangle colored in red. Uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Limas.end fill. Oh, I spelled fill wrong. And here we go. And there's our red colored triangle. If you want to make it larger, just change the radius of the circle, and that'll be a 200 interior filled. Just like the circles, if you wanted the line red, you would leave the color red. But before begin fill, we would use a fill color. So once again, just like previous lessons, the fill color, let's say we want to make the fill color yellow. And so now the fill color on the interior is going to be yellow, and the line color is going to be red. Okay, and that's using the circle function with 3 steps. Now, if we were to use 4 steps, we want to make a square. Square is 4 sides. We put the number 4 for the number of steps as the third parameter. And there's a square using the circle function, making regular polygons inscribed into circle. Now, what if you wanted a square that is flat? So you have to calculate, well, how many degrees did the turtle turn to start this square? Well, you got to do a little bit of math here. For our sake, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the answer. But you have to remember that it's actually 45 degrees. Let me just go ahead and give you the answer. I'm going to go ahead and turn right after the pen size, and you can actually do it at another point. I'm going to turn the turtle right 45 degrees. And then it's going to start the circle, because here automatically using the circle function, it goes 45 degrees to the left. And there is going to be a flat square. If you want it smaller, you can change this value. Again, that would be the radius of the circle. Let's change it to 150. Actually, let's leave it at 2. Well, I hope I don't run out of space. Let's leave it at 150. All right, any questions about that? You guys can ask me. Now let me go ahead and remove the turn right just to show you again. This is using the circle function with the third parameter represent the number of steps. If you wanted to do the triangle, someone may ask, well, what about the triangle if I want it flat? Well, inside well, we don't have to, you guys don't want to do any math, but it's actually 60 degrees that you would turn it to the left or to the right. So limas dot right, 60 degrees. And if you just memorize these, you should be okay. It's going to make a flat triangle with a radius of 150. All right, let me go ahead and get rid of that. And I'll just keep the same colors. Now I've already done using the circle function with 3 steps and 4 steps. Obviously 2 won't work. You can see 2 won't work. Let me go back to the square. What if you entered a negative number? This is important because you might need this. Well, look, I'm going to change the radius to a negative. What do you think is going to happen? Well, it's just going to go the opposite way. And notice the difference. Okay. Now, if I make it positive, it's going to go to the left 45, then start the square. If I make it negative, it's going to go the opposite way. And of course, we already learned about the negative arc. It just goes the opposite way. Okay. And if I make it negative, it's going to start down, but the opposite way. All right, let's change that to 150. You can also make a 5-sided shape using the steps of 5. Oops, I had a negative, so it went to the left. I had the arc negative, but if you want to make it to the right, make the arc positive, and there's a 5-sided shape colored in yellow. Again, if you wanted to color in red, you would delete this fill color line. I just made it a comment, and there you go. But for visual purposes, I'm going to fill it in yellow. And if you want to turn it to the right, I'm not sure what it would be, but I believe you can turn it to the right. Looks like 45 degrees, but it's not important for us right now. 6 steps, 6-sided shape. 7, same thing. 7 steps will be 7 sides. And again, you're using the circle function. You want to keep trying 8? Okay, let's try 8. And actually, the more number of steps you go to, let's try 13. The more closer it actually gets to a circle. And that's why you use the circle function. You see how it looks like a circle? If I actually got rid of this 13, watch this. It'll be very similar shape, size. So that's why we use the circle function. Let's try 20 just for the heck of it. And look at how it looks like a circle. All right, if you want to go downward, use the negative. You can actually make a snowman that way if you really wanted to. Put a -1 and a +1 and do another +1 going above or going below, putting them all negatives. All right, now let's change this back to a 3 to make a triangle. So what if I wanted 2 triangles stacked up upon each other? Well, what you can do is, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this paste. Actually, I could get rid of that. I'm gonna leave it this way just to make things easier. Actually, I'm gonna do it so I can change colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and put another circle below it, and I'll leave a space. I'm sorry, another triangle using the circle function, and let's make this one the opposite. But because I want it to go underneath it, because this is where the turtle ends, and it's facing a heading of 0, I'm going to make it negative. What do you think is going to happen? I'm going to make the direction negative. And so it does the triangle downward. What if you wanted to add one going to the right? Well, do you remember the degrees that I told you to do? Well, let's do this. Copy the code. All right, this one's gonna replicate the bottom one. I changed the first parameter, the radius, into a positive, so it's gonna do the same circle. I'm sorry, I'm gonna run it, and I'm sorry, it's gonna use the same circle function to make the first triangle. So this is gonna go back up, okay, and it changed it yellow. Now, but I wanted to go to the right, so I have to turn it to the, I want to go on this side, if you can see my mouse. It's gonna be on the right side of this. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and, like I showed you guys earlier, to turn my triangle to the right before it starts making the circle. So we'll put it right after the color because we're going to change the color. So we'll go luminous.rt is a shortcut for right, 45 degrees. And let's make it green. And we'll make the fill color blue. All right, here we go. Bottom one, negative radius. Oh, that came out pretty cool. Actually, it should have been more. It should have been, looks like it should have been 90. My apologies. I don't know what did I do wrong? Oh, what happens is it's actually facing, let me just leave this like this. It's a mistake on my part, and this is why I like to put the turtle. So when it stops, it's actually facing to the right. So let's try 90. And this is what you do. You just play around with the numbers sometimes. Let's try right 90. Actually, I think it should have been 60s. Oh, but there you go. Now, if you wanted to add another one to the left-hand side, you can copy and paste this. And again, I'm going to just do the opposite colors. But instead of right, 90. Well, right now it's facing downward. If I make this one, it's going to go the same direction, I believe. Let's see. It should go over it one more time. Oh, no, it doesn't. So you see it's down here now. So I want to make it go to the left. And it should be 90 degrees if I'm correct. I'm just making this up as I go along. Oops, I forgot to change the color. But let's leave it the same color. So if I did this correctly, nope. What did I do wrong? I made it go left 90, so it ended there. 180. And this is what I do when I play around, because I haven't showed you guys another function that'll make it easier. And there you go. And that's how you use the circle function to make inscribed shapes. If you have any questions, you guys can ask me.